Hi, I'm Kesenya and welcome to Guiding Star Astrology. I'm your Astro Weather Girl, here with this week's Astro Weather Report. I'm going to show you how the stars are going to affect your life this week. In my videos, I use both Vedic and traditional Western techniques with tropical astrology, not sidereal astrology. I also use the traditional system of whole sign astrology for my analysis. You can use this video to the best of your advantage by listening to the introduction to understand what the week holds for you, and then going to the timestamps for your sun, moon, and rising sign to get a more personalized forecast for the week ahead. Astrology is not designed to scare you. It's designed to give you information so that you know what the good and the challenging energies in the week ahead will be, and you can therefore consciously work with them to the best of your advantage. Remember, knowledge is power. Now, there are scammers about, and so if you should receive a message from me on any platform requesting your money for a reading, know that it is a scam. Report them immediately. And now settle in and let's see what the astral skies have in store for the week ahead. Hello and welcome. We are looking at the energies that are playing out in the astral skies from the 10th of June until the 17th of June this week. Before we dive right in, I want to announce the winner of the May Solar Return Report. Now, those of you who are regular watchers of my channel know that I ask you to like, share and subscribe to each video, and to leave a comment in the comment section to let me know you've done so. And every month I randomly choose a comment that's been left to give a free solar return report to. And so the winner of the May Solar Return Report is Melissa Carey from Ireland. You've won yourself a solar return report, Melissa. Please contact me via the Guiding Star Astrology contact form on the website. Link for the website's in the description below to arrange your free solar return report for the year ahead. Now, don't forget, people, like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment to say you've done so, and then you'll go into the draw to win the June solar return report free prize. I love offering that to people. Please participate if you want to win a solar return report. Before we move on, I want to also mention that I am offering the introductory and intermediate levels of the Royal Stars Academy at a discounted price to facilitate mid-year enrollments into the course. So don't miss out. This is for the month of June only. $100 off either the introductory level or the intermediate level, or if you want to buy both, go for it. They both have $100 off. Learn astrology, get certified with the International Institute of Complementary Therapies, and build yourself a whole new life based around astrology. It can become your career, or you can just edify and educate yourself, whatever you like, but it is a university level program. You can do it, it's provided in 4 stages. You can do it at any particular stage or level that you actually feel you're at. But do come and join me at the Royal Stars Academy. Once again, the link's in the description below. Get yourself $100 off these courses to edify and grow your astrological knowledge. You're going to love it. There's so much in these courses. It will knock your socks off. So did you know also that you can actually sample a piece of the Royal Stars Academy course for only $10? So if you want to know, okay, is this going to really, fill my soul? Is this going to be edifying? Is this going to, I use that word a lot, don't I? Is this going to help me? Well, you can have a taste. I call it a taste and see. By going to my Learn Astrology page, there you can get a 2-hour video going in depth with the meta zodiac of your sign. And for those who don't know what a meta zodiac is, it is explained in the videos. So simply go to my Learn Astrology page. It's like a little webinar, a 2-hour webinar for only $10 on your favorite sign. So again, the link's in the description below. 2-hour webinar, all yours for a taste of the Royal Stars Academy for only $10. That's Australian dollars too, so it's even cheaper if you're from Europe or the USA. Check it out. See if you think the Royal Stars Academy is for you. and enjoy learning about astrology for only $10. All right, that's what I wanted to mention here. I probably should also throw in another promo to say if you would like a free Magic of Eye astrological planner and you live in Australia, do come and join us for the very important solstice event and day of celebration held on the 24th of June, the day that the sun moves direct again after standing still since solstice. 24th of June, very important day. I talk about that in my solstice videos. But you will get a free astrological planner if you're one of the next 2 people to sign up to join us at the solstice celebration day. And the information about that is it's at the events page on my website, guidingstar.astrology.com. Enough with the advertising. I know a lot of you don't like it, but this is my livelihood, this is my business, and I like to share my offerings with my beautiful audience. So I hope you don't mind that I share this information before we get cracking on this week's Energy Focus, which is what we're going to do right now. This week's Energy Focus begins with the 11th of June. We've got Pluto, who's been retrograde for a little while. Pluto over here, retrograding in Aquarius, now moves into 29 degrees of Capricorn. This is another shifting of the gears for Pluto, my friends. So get set for a repeat of the themes of the last 14 years while Pluto has been transiting through Capricorn. This is the final last hurrah of this energy, if you will. And so whatever is unfinished in your life regarding Capricorn themes pertaining to the house of Capricorn, but also Capricorn in general, worldly success, career, reputation, Capricorn themes, what is unfinished regarding that in your life? Well, that is what is going to get addressed over the coming months while Pluto retrogrades and then turns direct again in Capricorn for the final time in your lifetime. He'll never be back here again as long as you live. This final sojourn in Capricorn will have you taking back public and career power where you've lost it. It will have you closing the door on any old strategies for success that are no longer working in your life. And all of this provided that you are listening to the promptings by spirit to make necessary change. You're listening to your higher self. You're trusting the pull, the energetic pull in life and not fighting it. If you are doing that, if you're listening and acting and trusting on the instinct within you, then you will have some significant changes in those realms that will be for your long-term benefit. Pluto in Capricorn, he's going back when he's retrograding, going back over old ground, making sure he's left no stone unturned in his mission to reveal the darkness and the cobwebs in your life, but also in the collective Capricorn hierarchical basement. So we're going to get a revisiting here of some of the old themes that we've seen in the last 14 years of corrupt governments and organizations that are not acting for the public good, but acting for, lining their own pockets, that sort of thing. We're going to, and many, many other themes, dive deep into the Capricorn hierarchical structures and one final expose of all the darkness and the cobwebs in there. So things, some people are going to come undone. Some organizations, some governments are going to come undone. Truths will come out and the ground will be prepared for a final time, plowed up for the new Pluto in Aquarius themes that are coming for you and the collective in 2024. So this is a final passage. It's a very important transit, this particular retrograde of Pluto. Pluto retrogrades every year, but this one is a very significant retrograde, a very key pivotal retrograde for this portion of your lifetime. Also on the 11th of June, Mercury is going to trine Pluto because Mercury is reaching the final 29th degree of the Earth sign of Taurus. And of course, Pluto retrograding into 29 degrees of Capricorn, another Earth sign, creates a trine between the two bodies. And this is what we're going to be talking about in the All Signs Breakdown. So I've got to ask you, where is Gemini and Virgo in your horoscope? And is it prominent? Do you have a lot of planets there? A Gemini and Virgo on an angle for you? If this is the case, if you have a sun or moon in Gemini or Virgo, then you have a strong Gemini-Virgo presence. And if you do, then you might be very sensitive to the energy of June the 11th because Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo. This is an aspect of transformation, but a blessed aspect because it's a trine. in the best of ways, especially now that Mercury is out of its retrograde mode. So the blessing can come here. It could spell, though, changes in relationship, changes in finances, change in our mental intuitiveness, depending on what house in your chart Mercury is the ruler of. For some people, there could be windfalls. For others, there could be some helpful negotiations with powerful people. For some, there might be increased desires or big changes in appearance. Anything is possible with this fascinating dance of the power planet and whatever Gemini rules in your chart. Do you have any planets around 29 degrees of Taurus? Well, they're going to be activated too. Don't underestimate the potential of this benevolent interaction between these two bodies. Pluto in a chart empowers whatever it touches. So it's empowering, in a blessed way, Mercury themes in your chart. And if you have planets around 29 degrees of Taurus, they're getting a double activation by a trine from Pluto and a conjunction from Mercury. So big energy here with this one. That's why we're talking about this particular outworking of energy this week. I'll also point out 29 degrees is a very potent degree. One of the most noticeable degrees in each sign is the 29th degree, the anaretic degree, which speaks to endings, conclusions, wrapping things up. So that can also be a part of what this energy brings about, the ending of something pertaining to what Mercury rules in your chart, the conclusion of something pertaining to what Mercury rules in your chart. So sometimes, like, even though this is a blessed trine, sometimes this 29th degree energy can be challenging, can be confrontative, can be full of upheavals and a bit of a rocky ride. So it's my belief with this combination that you're going to eventually receive some empowerment and some transformation and some blessing because of this transit. But it might come with a bit of upheaval. It might come with a bit of hard work that needs doing. It might come with a bit of feeling like the rug's been pulled out from underneath you for a time. You know, cling to your faith, cling to your hope and your belief and your trust, because ultimately it will be for, I believe, the greater good in your life. Then also on the 11th of June, we have Mercury moving into Gemini. So what's going on here? On the 11th of June, Pluto moves backwards into Capricorn, or it looks like he does from our vantage point here on Earth. And then at that point, they trine one another, Mercury and Pluto. And then Mercury, who's moving direct, takes a little bit of a nudge forward and boof, he goes into Gemini, all on the same day. Quite a pivotal day, the 11th of June. So after this heavy retrograde period, retrograde station and direct motion that Mercury has had in the sign of Taurus over the last month, Mercury now picks it up a notch with a breezy direct move into Gemini. So get ready for your thoughts during this time while he's in Gemini to come faster, to be more humorous and eclectic in your interests. Basically, the planet that governs Gemini is in Gemini for a time, and so Gemini themes are empowered and we feel more at peace with our communication and our thought processes and our learning processes while Mercury is here. There's also likely to be a lot of news that comes your way this month because of Mercury in Gemini, but there also might be a restless tone to what we are doing. We might want to be busy like a bee, and so we're buzzing here and we're buzzing there. We want stimulation, and we might, if we're not getting it, we might even find ourselves a little bit bored from time to time. So make sure you have some fresh interactions with friends, or a new interest to read about, or study astrology with me, something waiting up your sleeve to sort of inject some curiosity and enthusiasm and intellectual growth into your coming month while Mercury moves through Gemini, and then you can avoid those doldrums and the boredom that comes when you're not stimulating yourself enough. Then we shift from the 11th of June to the 12th of June to have a Venus square to Jupiter. Now this is occurring at 5 degrees of Leo and 5 degrees down here of Taurus. So this is a square aspect. We've got fixed sign to fixed sign. That's usually indicative of a square when you're moving from one cardinal fixed or mutable energy to another between two planets. These two planets, Venus and Jupiter, are the benefics in astrology, and they give us a sort of a lighter, hard aspect than the malefics do when they make a hard aspect, or in this case, a square. It's actually a great transit for good times and having fun. So you can find that there's more pleasures on the table, more enjoyment, more decadence, more, just delight. A good energy for generosity. It's a good energy for optimism. But remember, as with all Jupiter hard aspects, we have to be very wary of overdoing it, taking it too far. We go to the smorgasbord dinner, not that they exist after COVID anymore, unfortunately, but we go to the smorgasbord dinner and we go all out and eat about 5 different desserts. And, we come home and the next day we jump on the scales and we're like, oh, what was I thinking? A moment's pleasure and ecstasy for a week's worth of hard slog at the gym, So be wary of overdoing the indulgence and the pleasure. That's the warning with this particular hard aspect, but you're going to get more opportunity to enjoy yourself. So that's okay. Venus is pleasures, luxuries, fashion and food. And remember, Jupiter is extravagance when he's in a hard aspect. So make sure, I would say, my warning with this one would be to know what's in your bank account, because Venus is spending and Jupiter can be extravagant in spending. So make sure you know what's in your bank account before you spend. That's one way to deal with this energy in a positive way, by having the knowledge, I don't really have the money to buy that right now, so I'm going to, pare back a bit. Watch your waistline, as I've already illustrated, is another way. And, some of us can have too much on our schedule in terms of parties to go to and good times and, feeling really busy regarding the pleasurable things of life, that we feel burnt out from having too much fun. So that's another thing. There's just some examples of how we need to just be careful during this square aspect. Socializing and friendships really do flourish under this transit though. So enjoy that, enjoy the beautiful connections and socialization and love that's in your life right now. Many of us will be experiencing an extravagance of love, and what's wrong with that? Enjoy, my friends. Then on the 16th of June, we have Mercury squaring Saturn. So here is Mercury down here. Here is Saturn at early degrees of Pisces, 7 degrees. And by now, Mercury, who's scooching along through Gemini, makes a square aspect on the 16th of June. This is time to notice the amber traffic light in your life and act accordingly. Mercury, hard aspect to the malefic Saturn. This could be a challenging time for people around the 16th of June. You might find yourself going down the mental rabbit hole of loneliness, depression, sadness, poor me. It's very likely. So put your foot on the brake, slow down, and give yourself a mental rest where and if you can. So make sure you have some self-love strategies up your sleeve if you find that you're struggling. I know when I am feeling low and I'm always telling my kids, sleep is the cure for everything. Pisces Rising, of course, that's the cure for everything in my book. But when I'm feeling low, I go and have a nana nap, an afternoon sleep, and I wake up feeling like, okay, now I can deal with things a bit better. I'm refreshed. There are other strategies. You would have a million other strategies. Watching the Gilmore Girls with a mug of hot chocolate or a cup of coffee, because they're always drinking coffee in the Gilmore Girls with massive big mugs. You might like to grab a cup of coffee and watch Gilmore Girls. Whatever does it for you that gives you a sense of, all right, now I've got my bearings, now I can cope. Then go for it under this energy, because it could be a hard one to deal with. So make sure you're well prepared. 16th of June. Negative thinking, gloomy attitudes, feeling at odds with your social and familiar circles. These are energies to be aware of. But you can also work with this energy to the best of your advantage by channeling it into doing some detailed work. Aside from having some, self-love strategies, you could do some detailed work. Get out that cross stitch, or maybe some wood burning or something like that. Whatever requires a lot of detail and attention to the finite. That's what you should focus your energy into. Maybe some goal setting can be done, some planning. Maybe you could just spend the day reading, reading is Mercury. Saturn is something a bit serious. You might like to read some books that are like manuals or self-help books or something like that, something that's a bit more serious rather than a frivolous novel. So if you do that sort of thing, then you can get better results out of this energetic interaction. Give me more cleaning to do, said nobody ever. But this is actually a day when doing constructive, productive work, such as cleaning, can help us feel a little better. Tidy the house, spring clean, this is the energy. Where's the mop? Grab it and go for it, my friends. And finally this week, I see, from my perspective here in the Southern Hemisphere, I live in a state called Victoria in Australia, around June the 17th, we are going to experience, where I live on the planet, the heliacal rising of Aldebaran, one of the famous fixed stars, one of the royal stars of ancient Persia. So Aldebaran was known as the Watcher of the East and had certain symbology very connected to prosperity as well. Aldebaran around the 17th of June, depending on where you live, but where I lived, so I'm talking from my perspective in the Southern Hemisphere, Aldebaran is going to become visible early in the morning as it rises just before the dawn. Now, if you cannot see it from your location on Earth, keep looking over the next couple of weeks. Eventually he will show up. There he will be just before sunrise. Aldebaran, the fixed star, is connected to the god Mithra, or Ahura Mazda, known as the slayer of the cosmic bull. Now, if you're interested in understanding about fixed stars, I do go into that at the 3rd level of the Royal Stars Academy, which will be becoming available next year, 2024 for that one. But you can join me to learn all sorts of amazing new insights earlier than that with the first 2 levels of the Royal Stars Academy that are currently on sale for $100 off to take in a mid-year enrollment level. Astrologically though, Aldebaran blesses people who conduct honest business. He is all about contracts and integrity with contracts. Some ancient sages saw Aldebaran as a star, as I said, of great wealth, but with the energy of a military strategist. So it's about having a strategy for achieving wealth. So this particular star's heliacal rising might bring the manifestation to many people who've got it prominent in their chart of their wishes to do with business, wealth, contracts, or your strategies for success. So notice what this fixed star is up to in the sky where you are on the planet, because visible astrology speaks to visible manifestation. And so that's a branch of astrology that we explore in the Royal Stars Academy. And we're going to be looking for the heliacal rising of Aldebaran around the 17th of June. So that's our little sojourn through the solar system and beyond for this coming week. Let's break it down now for all signs. So we're going to begin with Taurus as the first house because we're looking at Mercury Trine Pluto at 29 degrees. And of course, in this instance on the 11th of June, we're seeing that take effect in the sign of Taurus. Let me just get my stabilizer and we'll be on our way. So the influence of Mercury trining, so the influence of Mercury in a trine aspect with Pluto is affecting your first house if you are Taurus rising, sun or moon. This is a period of time for the next week or so when this energy is activated where you'll be thinking fast and you'll also be talking fast, more than usual, my Taurus friends. Taurus is a bit more slow, plodding, but under this energy, it's all coming thick and fast. In fact, your mind can be faster than your mouth when Mercury moves through the first house and is activated in this way. So try to slow down, think things through. You might need to make some fast decisions now or even take some quick actions over certain circumstances in your life. So just try to remember to check the finer details when necessary about any circumstances that arise sort of around the 11th of June. You could also look at maybe the 10th or the 12th as well. You're going to want to keep things during this period short and to the point because there's a business-like energy about your life now and a busyness that's going to keep you very much on your toes during this period. Some of you Taurus people might be going to receive some fresh new insights some fresher sort of aha moments, enlightenment in some way, and you're going to make some new plans. There's going to be some new redirectioning of plans that might unfold for my Taurus friends. You're going to want to keep the details of these new plans very simple, and try very hard to keep them big picture focused. You know, we can get lost in the detail a lot of the time with Mercury energized. So try and keep a big picture, because you're going to automatically how shall I put it? You're going to automatically be drawn to dealing with the finer details. Don't neglect the big picture as you deal with the finer details. Try not to get defensive about your opinions under this energy now as well. Remember, if you're in any conversations and discussions with people, take the higher ground, use your words to enact peace. And if you must sort of dialogue with people in a tense way, use intellectual argument tinged with grace. You might be able to rally people to a cause under this energy through your infectious excitement now. Look, this is a positive aspect because it's the 29th degree. Remember that you might there might be some sort of perceived negative influence. You might be a bit impatient with other people who are taking too long to reach their point, or in their conversation, you know, they're laboring the point or something, and you might be like, ugh, enough already. You know, that would be the energy to think about here with this interaction that's playing out. So that's what I'm seeing for my Taurus rising, Taurus sun, and Taurus moon friends. Moving right along, Gemini rising, sun or moon people. Well, you're about to receive Mercury into your sign for the next month or so, but before that happens, there's going to be this trinal interaction between Pluto and Mercury. Pluto empowering Mercury, but at the 29th degree of your 12th house. This is a house of being dreamy and imaginative, but it can also bring trouble with details. So, yeah, whereas I've just talked about Taurus rising needing to keep a focus on the big picture and not get lost in details. For Gemini rising, the opposite is true. You might be so blown out with the big picture and the ideals and the dreams you want to accomplish and the big picture approach that you neglect the fine details that need to be enacted in order to achieve what you want to achieve. So keep that awareness in your mind, and if you're embarking on a new ideal or dream or plan, make sure that you give attention to the details. Some of you might receive some information through otherworldly realms over the period from sort of the 10th of June to the 12th of June. So do have a dream journal by your bed. There might be a message from spirit that comes through from a dream, but also from things like tarot cards or runes or oracle cards or something like that, where you might get some strong messages from the divine. So I'm not saying go and book in with a tarot reader, although, you know, I do have people who offer those services on my webpage if you would like to. But you might just like to get a packet of oracle cards yourself and use this time to really ask spirit for guidance, ask for messages, because this is a combination. It's actually an annual combination, but it doesn't always occur in your 12th house, this trine between Pluto and Mercury. So make the most of this by asking the divine to give you messages. Like I said, this combination will not occur in your 12th house in your lifetime again. Pluto making a trine to your 12th house. So make the most of this, making a trine to Mercury in your 12th house. Make the most of this and ask for wisdom, ask for guidance, using whatever tools that you need to connect with otherworldly realms. You might even find, some of you Gemini people, that you might be some sort of channeler of otherworldly information with this energy. Now, because Mercury is being empowered by Pluto, you might have trouble with everyday activities and routines because you might be thinking in a very abstract and unusual way under this energy. You'll have lots of creativity during this time, lots of inspiration, but potentially some frustration with the mundane and the ordinary and the fine details of everyday life. So be prepared that might be the case. And if you're suffering with like, oh, I'm just so sick of paying the bills or whatever, dive into creativity as an antidote. Dive into your imagination to feel better. Now, lack of thoroughness with the details of life, like I've just alluded to, can be present, but knowledge can arrive your way very intuitively. I would say trust your instincts now, trust your gut. Don't be looking to your logic, as Mercury is wont to do. Instead, trust the 12th house instinct, the feeling, the sense, the intuitive sense. This is a combination that can be very visionary and inspiring as well. It is a great transit for anybody who's working in marketing or advertising, works with music or writing or creative careers. Inspiration can land on your doorstep now. So it's a good time to have conversations with people about any 12th house matter, your favorite films, from, that sort of thing, medicines, and might be talking about pharmaceutical products or something in a conversation with other people, or spirituality would be a big one with this combination. A great time to talk about spirituality. You might even get some big psychic downloads or insights through a conversation that you have with somebody under this energy on the 10th, 11th or 12th of June. Your dreams, as I said, can be very prophetic. Don't forget that dream journal, my Gemini friends, on the 10th, 11th or 12th of June. Thank you, Gemini. All right, Cancer rising, sun or moon people. Well, the energy of, are you going to stay there? Thank you very much. The energy of Pluto trining Mercury in Taurus at the final degree is going to be felt on the 10th, 11th or 12th of June very strongly in your 11th house. And this is a strong position for Mercury. You're going to be very geared up to think about life in a rational and analytical way now. And of course, this is the house of dreams and goals and aspirations. So you're going to be analyzing your dreams and goals, rational about your dreams and goals, grounded about your dreams and goals, which is fantastic because, some of us can get sort of led off with the fairies about what we can actually achieve in life, but not under this energy. It's very realistic. Your intellectual approach to things can be quite impartial and quite scientific now. You might be feeling a bit more detached from your emotions under this energy and more in your head, logical. So while that is not we need our emotions to guide us a lot of the time. We don't discount our emotions ever. They are pivotal parts of our lives, especially, following our gut, following our feeling. But this is a time for using your logic and making decisions based on the intellectual side, the wisdom. It's also a great transit for making new friends or doing some public speaking as well to large groups of people. You might be given the opportunity to do this sort of thing under this transit. But if you're speaking to people, maybe on a YouTube channel or through social media, or maybe you're giving a public address or something like that, it's really going to be powerfully received. Your words will have a great deal of persuasion and a great deal of impact. You might even be able to rally people to your cause simply through the sweetness of your words. I mean, Mercury is in Taurus, so the energy is sweet, and Pluto will empower that message that you've got. It's also an energy and a period where you might gain a unique perspective on a topic that is affecting the masses. Keep an open mind and an open heart right now. You might have thought this is the way it always is, this is the way it always should be, stubborn Taurus in that regard. But here comes Pluto empowering a change in thinking under this energy, transforming the way you think about something that affects the masses. So do keep open-minded, so that you can receive whatever guidance from the universe that it wants to put forward to you regarding what is affecting the collective at this time. You might also notice that your goosebump moments have an increase on the 10th, 11th and 12th. Pay attention to these flashes of insight. Those times when someone says something and you respond with sort of the hair standing up on your arms or something like that. There is wisdom in that. Your thinking, Mercury-based thinking, might be drawn to topics to do with the progress of humankind and justice for humanity. Some people with this energy, my Cancer friends, might even be considering some sort of collective legal action under this influence, about joining a class action or something like that with this combination. But you will be very much drawn to justice and humanity, social equity, that kind of thing, and maybe you might be speaking about that, maybe you might be writing about that, maybe you might be communicating or having a conversation with people about those things. So that's the feel for the next month, not the next month, the next week, because of this transit, my beautiful Cancer rising friends. And I just want to point out that this is the last time that Mercury will be trined by Pluto in this realm of the chart. It's happened annually for the last 14 years, but never again in your lifetime are you going to have this. So make the most of this combination that's occurring for the final time, and utilize this energy to your best advantage. It will not occur again in your lifetime. Thank you very much. Oh, actually, I probably should point out that for Cancer rising Sun and Moon people, Mercury is the ruler of the third house of small business, and the 12th house of anything of a spiritual or foreign nature. So you might have some empowerment regarding a small business, especially if your small business has to do with foreign places and reaching people overseas. There's a number of other combinations that I could describe with that as well, but I'm not going to go into that for all signs here. If you want to learn about how to do that sort of thing, join me at the Royal Stars Academy. I go into understanding all those combinations. All right, thank you, Cancer. Now, Leo rising, Sun or Moon people. The energy let me hold this straight here. The energy for Leo rising, Sun or Moon people of Pluto being in a trine situation with Mercury that's occurring, you'll feel it on the 10th, 11th or 12th of June, and it's occurring for the final time in your life. You will never again have a trine from Pluto to Mercury in your 10th house. That's not going to happen ever again, so make the most of this energy, focused on 10th house of career, reputation, and worldly opinion. So here, under this influence, your thinking processes become much more no-nonsense, and you can use your mind and your thinking processes to help build some new structures in your life connected to career, connected to leadership roles, connected to management or administration or bureaucracy. So it's a wonderful time, the last time in your life where this transit will occur, that's going to support the implementation of some new systems in your life regarding career. So you could be reviewing the career that you have, Leo, and how you're operating with your career. You might be making some changes that are going to empower you going forward into the future and set things up for you to have a lot of flourishing in the long term. Remember, this is a trine, so it's of benefit. You will need to watch out in the negative, because this is occurring at the 29th degree of Taurus, so there is this energy of a bit of struggle here that's going to lead to benefit in the long run, but struggle to birth the new. This is like the 29th degree is like the labor pain degree before we hit 0 degrees of the next sign, which is the birthing, the achievement. So you're in the labor pains of birthing things, and there can be difficulties. So watch out for patronizing attitudes, criticism, or judgmentalism that are coming to you from bosses or superiors or authority figures. You're not looking for those things, but they might just pop up. You might even be doing that to other people if you're in a position of leadership. So if you are in a position of leadership, remember kindness, compassion, and grace in all circumstances. So be aware of this tendency and tread with kindness in your communication. And if you are on the receiving end of such things, patronizing attitudes, criticism, and so on, then take it with a grain of salt. It's the energy of the moment. But what I see is very powerful for Leo people is the fact that Gemini rules the second house of finance, and being trined by Pluto here in the 10th house, and also the 11th house, which is also a wealth house. So for Leo rising people, Mercury is your indicator of wealth planet, yes, that's right, is your indicator of wealth, and therefore here in the 10th house there can be an empowerment of prosperity, an empowerment of wealth to do with your career, the money you make from career. So around this time you might get an influx of orders for whatever you sell, or you might find that you get an opportunity to get a promotion or a rise in your hourly pay or something like that can be a result of this particular benevolent interaction. So thank you very much, my Leo rising Sun and Moon people. Virgo rising Sun and Moon people, well, the energy of our beautiful trine between, let me just let that sit there, our trine between gorgeous Pluto in Capricorn to Mercury at the 29th degree of Taurus is affecting your 9th house. This is happening, you'll feel it around the 10th, 11th or 12th of June. So this is an indicator that you'll be thinking more about uplifting and inspiring topics now. You'll be looking for the silver lining. You'll be looking for the inspiration in your world. You know, maybe you wake up and it's raining outside and ordinarily you feel down because of the damp and the cold, but instead you see this beautiful rain and you're thinking, this is so nice for snuggling and curling up with a book and a hot chocolate or something. So you're looking with a glass half full approach on these 3 days, which is such a blessing. Excuse me. You'll tend to focus your thoughts to the positive, seeing the good. That's great for Virgo people. And you can really also be of benefit to humanity this month because you're going to be more inclined to think big picture. Now, Virgo is an energy, as we know, of the helper, the healer, somebody who wants to perfect things and bring balance back into the world. And so with the energy of Pluto amplifying and empowering Mercury thinking, also the ruler of your sign, Virgo, in the 9th house, you're going to be thinking more global, more big picture. How can I help? How can I heal? How can we fix the problems in the big picture of the world? So this is, this, if you put action behind these thoughts, it can be of great benefit, not only to you, but to other people as well. But you will also have a naturally progressive overview of life and looking to the future with hope and positivity that comes with this combination as well. Truth seeking is also on the cards under this energy. You want all the big answers to what's going on now. And so there's never been a better time perhaps to join me at the Royal Stars Academy. There's a discount of $100 off my courses at the Royal Stars Academy now. And with this energy, there's an empowerment of knowledge, an empowerment of getting to the bottom of things and understanding the truth. And astrology is a higher level concept, higher level science. So perfect combination here if you want to come join me. But you might just like to study for your own benefit in your own way as well under this energy. So you're looking for truth, you're looking for answers, and you can find it. You can find a mechanism for understanding under this energy. Trust your hunches now. Trust your intuition on things too, with this glorious combination between the two. This also might be a good time to dive into different philosophies, to dive into different belief systems, and to try to wrap your head around the activities and affairs in foreign countries. And isn't there a lot going on in foreign lands at the moment that we're trying to understand and come to grips with? So you might like to do a deep dive into that sort of thing. Pluto is to do deep research and dive deeply mentally into something to do with other cultures and foreign affairs, like I said. Now, I've already mentioned that Mercury is the ruler of your sign, Virgo, but it also rules Gemini, the 10th house. So there could be an energy here of empowerment of 10th house things in a blessed way. In that regard, your career could receive a blessing, your career could receive a rise. Maybe you get an influx of new clients or an opportunity to expand your career in some manner into a realm that you hadn't previously thought was available to you. You might be taking your career to some foreign group of people, maybe you're speaking to people overseas in some way, or jumping online and doing a Zoom meeting with people from foreign countries or other different cultural backgrounds that could lead to blessing and expansion because of the trine from Pluto in the 9th house here. So that is what I'm seeing, generally speaking, for our Virgo rising sun and moon people. Now, Libra rising sun and moon people, the energy of Mercury in a trine situation here with our beautiful Pluto at 29 degrees is being felt in the 8th house, Libra. Woo! The house of upheaval, the house of destruction and rebirth. So what does this bring you at the 29th degree? Well, first of all, this is happening on the 10th. You'll feel it on the 10th, 11th or 12th of June. And it's going to bring you deep and intense thought processes now. You might find that you're very impatient with small talk. You haven't got time for superficiality. Not interested in that. I want to get to the nitty-gritty. Go deep with your thinking, with your conversations, with your writing, with your communications. It's a time also for getting strategic with your communications. You know, I'm not going to be just sort of, how's the weather? I'm going to be sending emails that get to the point, that accomplish something for me, that have a strategic importance in my life. You might be very focused also on psychological analysis of the self, reading self-help books or doing some psychological study. You might be trying to analyze other people in your life under this influence as well, trying to nut them out, trying to understand people's agendas and the motivations behind certain situations in your life. And this is a great time for coming up with answers regarding that, coming up with truths about certain situations in your life. It's about, you know, getting into the analysis, understanding the motivations, and finding peace then, because now that makes sense, or now I understand, or I see what was being hidden from me, it's become clear now. So trying to understand is something that you can pursue under this energy. Expect a lot of passion in your communications and your thinking. 8th house is to be deeply emotional, deeply passionate about things. So you're going to be speaking with passion, communicating to others with passion, writing emails with passion. It's a great time actually for doing some writing that requires a passionate voice. You will communicate with greater fervor and greater enthusiasm about topics that are dear to your heart under this energy. So if you've been putting off, you know, writing that blog post or doing that journal article, this is a time for jumping on it and using the energy to work in your favor. Your words, while Mercury is here and empowered by a trine with Pluto, your words really do have power now. Use them like a superhero for the good. There is on a shadow side of this energy, because it is at 29 degrees of the sign, so that the shadow can come out. There can be a tendency to manipulate others with your words under this transit in the shadow energy. Keep that in mind and think, no, I want to uplift, I want to bless, I want to empower people with what I say or write or speak or do. You could also expect to come into some quite surprising conclusions about the darker undercurrents of humanity during this time. Something might pop up in your Instagram feed, and you read about it and you're like, oh my God, I didn't realize that was the case. I'm shocked. This is the house of shock. So social media, ruled by Mercury, in the house of shocks, can reveal something of the darker nature. Pluto is the darker nature of things, the darker undercurrents of humanity, but it serves to make you more aware. You know, okay, it's hard to sort of stomach a lot of things that are being revealed to us out there in the world right now, but ultimately they make us more aware, more awake, and we wouldn't go back to being as naive as we were before we knew about these things. So this is likely to occur for you at some point in the 3 days from the 10th to the 12th of June. You might even find yourself thinking more about sort of morbid topics, death or ending things, or taboo topics as well. Thinking can turn to 8th house matters. People might divulge their secrets to you during this time, and some of you beautiful Libra rising people will turn into real Sherlock Holmeses on the trail of the truth. Like I said, doing a deep dive, once you uncover hidden secrets and mysteries. You're likely to find yourself drawn to understanding mysteries and hidden ideas and concepts and ideologies. You might even find that you can see right through people now, and things, behaviors, words that you would have just taken for granted now suddenly have a hidden force or a hidden meaning that you can understand, and you're like, ooh, I don't want to engage with that anymore. You actually, Libra, could be the provoker of transformation in others under this transit as well, through the use of your words. This is the house of transformation. Pluto is the planet of transformation. Gemini is the words we use. So your words, what you write, what you speak, might really hit home to other people, might really cause them to go through a death and rebirth kind of experience in their own psyche. So be careful of the words you use. Uplift people with words that are blessings rather than curses, and watch how it transforms people for the good. Thank you, my lovely Librans. All right. Oh, I will also point out that Mercury is the ruler of your 9th house, as well as your 12th house. So there's a very strong, deep spiritual component to this energy where you might get some spiritual insights. Your prayers will be heard. So set aside some time, Libra, to pray, to beseech the divine for answers, for direction, for guidance. You might, well, this is an energy where you can receive it through maybe shamanic practices or utilizing things that are more shamanic, maybe singing bowls or meditation or smoking ceremonies, things like runes and that kind of thing. Shamanic guidance and wisdom can come your way if you seek it out and do a deep dive in that regard around the 10th, 11th and 12th of June. Thank you to my Librans. Scorpio rising, sun and moon people. Well, my beautiful fixed sign Scorpios, the energy of Pluto in a trinal aspect here from Capricorn 29 degrees to Taurus 29 degrees is affecting your 7th house. So the empowerment of Mercury will be affecting your 7th house on the 10th, 11th, 12th of June. So you might find that during this time you have a need to communicate your ideas with other people in order to avoid feeling stuck. I will point out, Scorpio, that this is the final time in your life that there will ever be a trine from Pluto to Mercury in the house of other people. So it's really a time for getting on board the communication train with others, getting your message across, making sure your voice is heard with other people. You can actually really uplift other people with your words now. Be generous with your compliments. Be generous with your encouragement of others. Your communications will be very diplomatic too. So you can speak your truth now, Scorpio, knowing that it will be heard and received appropriately by others. So if you need to, step up and speak out over something in your life, this is the time. This is the days to take those steps. If you've been dilly-dallying about, telling mum and dad what you really think, or telling your partner that, hey, you know what, I really want to change jobs, or I really want to move here or there, or want to, change some dynamic in our relationship, this is the time for speaking your truth. Some of you, Scorpio people, may like to play the devil's advocate now with this energy in order to balance a conversation. To make both yourself and others think objectively about issues. So in a conversation with others, you might be the one sort of prodding, not because you think a particular way, but because you want to maintain balance or get more balance in the conversation, to see all sides of the story. Very 7th house is about harmony and balancing. So you might be being a bit of a devil's advocate to that end. And this is also a time when you can perceive problems from a variety of angles, weigh them up and, balance things. In the ancient Egyptian mythologies, they talk about weighing the heart against a feather. And that is, the scales, very connected to what we're doing here. Not that we're weighing our thoughts against a feather or anything like that, but we're valuing, we're working out the value of our thinking, the value of our relationships, and weighing up our problems and the solutions we have to our problems that are available to us. It's a time when many of you might enjoy the stimulation of fair and just debate with other people. Again, another reason why we can approach things and start talking about them, things that we might otherwise neglect to discuss with others because there might be a fear around raising certain issues. This is a time when we can, knowing that if there's a debate to be had, it will tend to be of a harmonious, fair and just ilk. It's a time for feeling more rational and reasonable in your thought processes too. You won't be in a hurry with your thinking under this energy. You'll take your time to make sure you've considered all options and you've evaluated everything before you decide, before you speak, before you communicate. It's a great time to bring balance and harmony to relationships also with your words now that can bless and uplift. And in a Scorpio chart, Mercury is the ruler of the 8th house and also the 11th house. So there can be change in relationships, a shifting of dynamic through something that's said because of the 8th house influence, an upheaval through some words that ultimately results in the good. There can also be through conversations or collaborations and partnerships, there can also be some gainfulness that you receive. as well. So don't be afraid to have those conversations. I see here that yes, it might bring change and a redirectioning, but it can also bring blessing and expansion and prosperity because of the rulership of Mercury of these houses. Thank you, Scorpio. All right. Sagittarius rising, sun or moon people. Well, on the 10th, 11th and 12th of this month, June, you might be, you will be experiencing the energy of a trine from Capricorn Pluto at 29 degrees to Mercury at 29 degrees of Taurus. So this is affecting your 6th house. Guess what? You can have high levels of success in your everyday routine and life under this influence. Why is that? Because Pluto is empowering Mercury here in the house that is generally associated with Mercury. Mercury has the general rulership of Virgo, which is associated with the 6th house. So an ability to enhance your daily routine, empower your daily routine. Your communication is likely to be very articulate and precise with an improved ability to get straight to the point and have meaningful conversations. There is the energy of a shadow side here. 29 degrees is the sort of the shadow degree, if you like, of a sign. So this can be a time of impatience with others who are not thinking effectively as you or speaking, quickly and to the point. But here, in the sign of Taurus, we can be a bit more observational and detached. And our work tends to take on a blessed component. And what do I mean by that? It means you'll be perfecting what you do. Practical skills are enhanced. If you've got some creating to do, some crafting to do, if you have to help, heal, serve, or fix something, you have the capacity under this energy to do it well, to produce useful and tasteful work, to really give a high level of quality to the work that you're producing or to your daily routine or helping or healing or fixing something in your world. It's actually also an introspective and observational energy. You might find yourself sort of being very analytical, analyzing every situation around these days. If there's any planning or preparation to be done in your life, it's a good time to schedule it during these particular days, 10th, 11th and 12th of June. Good planning and organization will also alleviate any worry that can sometimes unfold when Mercury is at the 29th degree of the 6th house, because this is a house of worry. So if you're worried or concerned about something in your life, and 6th house is daily routines, it's how we pay the bills, it's how we run our life on a day-to-day basis, there might be some worry regarding those things that can pop up. But if you make good plans and are well organized, this can sort of alleviate any of that heaviness. It's a great time under this energy to put some practical organizational skills in place that are going to help you, but also to help others. It's the house of service, organizational plans and skills that can be helping the poor or the sick or the disadvantaged in your life in some way too. Now, in a Sagittarius chart, Mercury rules the 7th house and also rules the 10th house. So I think for many of you, you will be partnering with somebody in career, maybe doing a collaborative effort, maybe running a workshop together. You might be creating a contract with somebody else, and it's likely to be blessed and made more prosperous because the god of great wealth, Pluto, making a very advantageous trine to Mercury, the ruler of the 7th house and the 10th house in the 6th house of work. So if whatever your daily work is, and whatever your career is, if you collaborate with others and work together with other people, you can achieve a better outcome on the 10th, 11th and 12th of June. So seek to reach out, collaborate and connect so that you can be blessed and other people can be blessed by your interaction with them as well. Thank you, Sagittarius, rising, sun and moon. Now Capricorn, rising, sun and moon. We've got a beautiful energy here of a trine from Pluto for the last time in your lifetime, in your 1st house, trining Mercury down here in the 5th house. Well, this is quite an interesting combination because it's a very strong combination for blessing and support from the divine and empowerment of all things ruled by Mercury in your chart, but it is also at the 29th degree, which can be a bit of a shadow degree. So the 10th, 11th or 12th of June, your thinking can be larger than life now. You know, in your head, you're imagining that you can go where no man or woman has gone before. And as such, you might find yourself undertaking some Mercury-based things that you might not usually do. You might be speaking to a stranger that you never would have approached before. You might be attempting to do some sort of this is a house of playing games, might be attempting to do a crossword or a Sudoku puzzle and you've never done one in your life before. You might be planning out, Capricorn, some sort of literary endeavor, writing the framework for, you know, the next world's great novel. So being creative and making plans around being creative, and, you know, seeing in your visioning process how magnificent things could be, going to the nth degree with your visioning process around your creativity. People might even be laughing more at your jokes here. This is a very humorous house. You might find that your communication is also more confident, dramatic, and expressive. You could be captivating people now. Mercury is to speak and to tell jokes, to be funny, to be the trickster even, and here in the house of popularity and celebrity, that could be happening. The fifth house is a very generous type of energy as well, and so you might be feeling very generous with your words, giving compliments, uplifting other people, encouraging other people now. You might even be on the receiving end of a lot of uplifting words and blessed words too. A very positive transit. It can also be a transit for blessing and luck regarding the things that Mercury rules in your chart. And in a Capricorn rising chart, that's fifth house things. You might have some blessing and luck with your daily work or with your health, or with your ability to pay the bills and manage financially on a day-to-day basis, buying the groceries, paying the electricity, etc. So there can be blessing and luck with that. You might also find, because Mercury is the ruler of your ninth house, that there's a very strong energy of blessing coming from your connections with foreign places, you know, other cultures, or perhaps the fact that you got a university degree 10 years ago or something now works in your favor and brings you a lucky break. You know, you get offered a position because you achieved that master's degree 10 years ago or whatever. So there can be blessing and empowerment that comes in a lucky way because of ninth house things, foreign affairs, higher learning, maybe an inspirational figure or a benefactor, really is on your side and speaks up in your favor or something like that. So quite an interesting transit for our Capricorn people, where they may experience some semblance of luck and blessing in their life that they may not ordinarily experience. Remember, it's also the final time this will be occurring in your lifetime. You'll never again have a trine from Pluto to Mercury taking place in the fifth house. Enjoy it, my friends. Enjoy this final sojourn of Pluto and Mercury. Aquarius rising, sun or moon people. Well, for you guys, the energy of a trine from Pluto to Mercury occurring for the final time ever between these two in these earth signs. Final time in your lifetime, I mean, not the final time ever. Once you're dead and gone and pushing up daisies, it will continue to occur in other signs and come back around again. But for your lifetime, this is it. It's affecting the fourth house for you. And so what does this mean? Well, it means that the communication gets very personal now. You might find yourself picking up very easily on the feelings and the needs of others. You're sensitive to what the family feels, or sensitive to what your intimate other is feeling. When you communicate, you're doing so on a very empowered personal level, sharing what's deep within you, sharing how what your emotions are up to in your life. It's a transit that empowers your deep emotional nature, but the communication of your emotional nature. So it's not so much about increasing your emotions. It's not about that at all. It's actually more about sharing the emotions. So if you've got some significant other, or a family member or something that you can talk with, have a coffee with, or, you know, have a glass of wine in front of the fire at night and just share deeply with. This is the transit to do that on the 10th, 11th or 12th of June. It's also a transit that can bring out some defensive tendencies if you're not careful. So be kind to yourself. If you feel inclined that way, you know when to walk away and lick your wounds instead of having a confrontation or trying to explain to somebody how you feel and they're just not getting it. They're just not understanding. They're just not walking a mile in your shoes. Know when enough is enough. Keep that in mind. You might also find that information comes your way under this influence in sort of gentle, non-confrontative ways. You might, get some news or receive a message. A family member might pass on some information that's very important information, not something that you just like shrug your shoulders and go, oh yeah, important information, but it comes to you in a way that is kind, that is supportive, and helps you. Now, it might not be the best piece of news you ever heard in your life, because remember, this is the 29th degree, the shadow degree of this sign, so it could be some difficult news that you receive, but you'll receive it in a loving, caring manner, well supported by maybe a family member or whatever. You might also find that this is a terrific energy for getting out the journal. Maybe you haven't written in your journal for 6 months and you pull it out now and you sit down and you just scribble away for a couple of hours. It's also great energy for picking up a book, or doing some reading of sort of a poetry or a relationship story or something that's very personal or a story that's very emotional. So it's not an energy for reading a self-help book necessarily, but more an emotive kind of story. One of my favorite novelists is Kate Morton, a wonderful Australian author, and you might, this is the energy for pulling out one of her books off the shelf and getting stuck in, enjoying the emotion, enjoying the beauty, enjoying the deep feeling nature of a good novel or an imaginative tale of some sort. I mentioned doing journaling. This is actually very therapeutic under this energy. You might even have some aha moments and some deep insights that come to you through a journaling process. You might also find that you get a bit sentimental and nostalgic under this influence too. So while you're writing away, you're thinking about maybe past loves or experiences in your life that you've had or something like that, and you go into this energy of sentimentality or nostalgia. Enjoy that process. It's part of a healing, or it's part of a purging or releasing process that you can enjoy too. You might, because the fourth house has to do with security and land, you might be thinking now, Mercury is thinking more about how to make your life more secure, how to obtain property, how to be hospitable in your home. These are all fourth house topics. So your thinking turns to fourth house things and is empowered by thinking out fourth house things. Some of you may even be signing a contract for some land or some property or a home or a rental situation or something like that under this energy too. And it is a supportive energy for doing so, because Mercury is contracts, trined by the empowerment planet Pluto. Even though it's at the 29th degree, there might be some difficulties around signing the contract or getting it just in, with just the right wording or whatever. But it is a good energy for proceeding with contracts of a nature that pertains to land and property. You may also get passionate about anything deep and soul searching now, so philosophical topics, or doing some imaginative healing processes and that kind of thing. You can be very passionate and enthusiastic about those things under this energy, and why not? For our Aquarius rising sun or moon people, Mercury is also the ruler of your fifth house, so there can be luck and benevolence with a property or with a family situation too that comes your way, because that's what Mercury is ruling, the house of luck. Also children, you might have a positive experience with children in your family in some way, a blessing that comes to you from children. Also, Mercury is the ruler in a Aquarius rising sun or moon chart of the 8th house, so transformation can come through home. Like you might be changing your home, you might be moving, like this is signing the contract for a new rental space or something. You might be changing your home. moving to a different home. The 8th house is change, and Mercury here at the 29th degree can bring around the conclusion of a domestic situation, a residential situation, so that you move into something new, a rebirthing. 8th house is a death and rebirth kind of energy. So there's a rebirthing of place of living, home life, family life, domestic life in some way, an ending and a rebirthing. That's very beneficial for Aquarius people because the 5th house Lord is involved as well. That's what I'm seeing for our Aquarius rising sun or moon people this week. Pisces rising or sun or moon people. Well, Pisces is a mutable energy, which means it's slightly restless, so I'm going to have to use my stopper there. So for our Pisces friends, the trine between Pluto in your 11th house at 29 degrees to Mercury in your 3rd house at 29 degrees is being exhibited on the 10th, 11th and 12th of June through the 3rd house. This is a mentally very playful position. And so Pluto is empowering your mental prowess, your playfulness, your cheekiness now. You might get a bit flirty with your words. Your wit and your intellect are on fire under this energy. It's a great time to direct your mental processes into some form of creative brilliance. Write an article, outline a plot for a new story, strategize a brand new business idea. This is the house of small business, so if you run a small business and you're a Pisces person, your small business might be enhanced and empowered under this energy. You might be signing some contracts to do with a small business that are going to benefit you in the long run. This is a very restless house, and so your mind might be quite restless for the next few days, 10th, 11th, and 12th of June. You might also get the opportunity to absorb a lot of new and interesting information, but if your mind just won't switch off and you're lying awake at night and it's 2 a.m. and your mind just won't be quiet, have some strategies. Put on some music or some white noise, whatever works for you. Sometimes to send myself to sleep, I listen to my own astrology reports. I don't suggest doing that if I were you, but you might want to do something to help have a strategy up your sleeve to help you switch off the mind or relax the mind or ease the mind, because it's very jumpy and restless monkey mind under this particular energy. You might create some new friendships. Well, there's an empowerment here as well. Some friendships that will bring great new perspectives to your world and enhance your understanding of the world. Your curiosity, Pisces, will be insatiable under this energy. You'll want to know about everything. So it's not necessarily an energy of a deep dive. It's an energy of, I just want to understand this or I understand that. Not at a deep level, but just to comprehend. So, you might like to do a workshop, you might like to read a book, you might like to have a conversation that enlightens you about a certain topic of interest. It's a great energy for doing so. Do watch out for an excess of nervous energy because your mind could race a little, as I said, and it might be harder to sit still and to meditate. So those sorts of things perhaps might not be as effective as they usually are because of this combination. But in a Pisces rising chart, Mercury is the ruler of the 4th house, Gemini, and also the 7th house, Virgo. So there is a link here to blessing, to empowerment. Pluto empowers whatever it touches, of a home situation or a domestic situation or a family situation, 4th house. There's also the empowerment of a relational situation or a collaborative situation that's unfolding for you too, Pisces. So you might be finding that you're restless with home, or you're having good communications, effective communications, or playful, flirty communications with a partner. They can be some of the ways this exhibits. You might also be running a small business from home with a partner under this influence, and it's blessed and it's empowered in some way, if that's your situation in life. You might be having friends in your home to do some hospitality and entertaining of some sort as well. So there's just a couple of combinations of what Mercury rules affecting and being empowered in your 3rd house, my beautiful Pisces rising sun or moon people. And finally we get to Aries rising sun or moon. Well, for you guys, the energy of the beautiful trine for the last time in your lifetime. This is never going to occur again, my friends. That is falling between Pluto in Capricorn and Mercury in Taurus, is affecting your second house. And this will be felt for you Aries people around the 10th, 11th or 12th of June. The second house has associations with the planet Venus, naturally. Well, Venus is a planet of diplomacy and kindness and sweetness. So under this energy, Mercury here, you might be inclined to use your words to speak sweetly, to uplift others. Or you might be using your voice to sing something or to communicate something that is really delightful. You might be invited on a podcast, for example, and you share something that is of value. This is the house of values, of value to others, that enhances their life, that brings more pleasure into their life. Second house. I would also recommend doing that for yourself as well. Your self-talk is a second house issue when Mercury is here. So there's an empowerment of self-talk. You can really actually change your sense of self-worth and self-value through the words that you speak to yourself, the dialogue that you have with yourself, the mental processes that you are experiencing in your head. So maybe write yourself a letter now, telling yourself how much you value you. Journaling is a good thing to do. Make it positive, make it uplifting about how you feel and who you are. But do things of a written or spoken fashion that empower who you are, that empower the self-worth, the self-valuing. This is a great energy for doing so. It will tend to flow and come naturally. And because of Pluto's trine, you will empower yourself by doing so. Make a note in your diary. This is the day I'm going to write myself a love letter. Okay? Your thoughts can also turn to second house things and be empowered by doing so. Second house things are art, beauty, fashion, the environment, nature, food, and self-sufficient resources, self-sufficient living right now. So you might be thinking along the lines of, how do I establish this veggie garden, or getting solar panels, or whatever it is that's of a benefit to you self-sufficiently. You're going to be thinking about it more under this energy. You might even be signing some contracts to, for example, put a solar panel on your roof, solar panels on your roof. You might be, because Mercury is to sign contracts, you might be signing contracts to generate more self-sufficiency in your life, and not just in a sort of let's save the environment kind of way, but how can you generate more resources for yourself so that you can thrive and flourish in life. So from that point of view, you might be signing some contracts, and it might be very empowering time for you to do so. It's also a great time for planning and strategizing about maybe some fashion overhaul you're going to give to your wardrobe, or strategizing about a beauty treatment that you want to have. Maybe you want to get your hair colored in a certain way. You can start researching on Pinterest and making a Pinterest board about that kind of thing. It's a time for strategizing about anything to do with second house stuff, and you can be blessed by doing that. So you may find yourself making that Pinterest hairstyle board, and then you'll think, Kesenya said I would be doing this. Oh my goodness, look at this. This energy has exhibited and played out without me even thinking about it. So that's how this kind of works. When we know about the astrology, everything makes sense. Otherwise, it's just a random haphazard event that we can't see the universe putting its fingers into our lives with. Anyhow, enough about that idea. You'll also find under this influence that finances and money-making ideas might be, flourishing and popping up here, there, and everywhere for you under this influence on the 10th, 11th, and 12th of June. So pay attention to where your mind wanders and what you're thinking about on this day. If you're like me and you have a dream book where you list your ideas and your concepts for, new creative opportunities, then make sure that's handy for you under this particular influence. And finally, for our Aries people, Mercury rules the third house of small business. So you might be making some money and empowered to make some money for your small business, or coming up with great ideas for your small business under this influence, or great ideas to run a workshop or teaching sessions of some description where you're sharing your knowledge and wisdom with other people. You might also be looking at thinking along the lines of how can I rejig my finances to get out of debt or to cope better with the mundane, everyday, ordinary circumstances of my life, because Mercury rules the 6th house. Health, well-being, getting out of debt, the bills that we pay, the day-to-day stuff that we don't like. So much is seen through the 6th house, and that's what Mercury rules for an Aries rising person. And so in that sense, you might be, paying your bills under this influence, and you'll be empowered to do so. You'll find that there's enough money in your account to pay those bills and to cover those debts that might come from Pluto making a trine to the ruler of your 6th house in the 2nd house of the money that we have in the bank. So that can be another outplaying. You might also find that you're empowered, Pluto, with the money that you need, 2nd house, to cover a visit to a specialist, or getting some health treatment or something, or buying that organic food instead of that GM modified food or something like that. So all in all, quite an interesting transit for everybody this week. I hope you enjoyed this Astro Weather Report. Do join me for another Astro Weather Report and a sojourn around the horoscope next week. I'll catch you then.